was bored. I needed something to do tonight. So for archery, this is what I shoot. This is an AAE Elite tab. Now this is the split finger version, obviously, right? Wasn't like that between. And what ended up happening was this comes with a thing to put your thumb on and a little, I don't know what you call it, a little thing to split your finger so you don't pinch your arrow when you draw back. And I'm still using this tab, but I purchased a 3-finger. Can you tell? I didn't like it. And the reason I didn't like it is because I bought the cordovan 3-under. And this cordovan is a lot stiffer than the leather that I bought this split finger in. And I really like that that's more supple. And this is still in great shape, this leather. Now, I'm pretty sure you can go and buy the leather thing to replace the cordovan. But seeing as how I do a lot of leather work, I thought there must be something here that I can use that maybe just would save me a lot of money to have to ship that and pay for it. So I cut myself out a little piece of oilskin leather that I had. And so all I did was put that over, right? Drew it out, cut it out. So this, you can see how much more supple that is compared to this. This is very stiff. Could I work this in? Maybe. But I've been playing with this for quite some time. I just can't get it to work in the way I want it. So I'll just I might just throw it in my bag and allow it to work around and get wet and that kind of stuff. And I might come back to this cordovan once it's worked in a little bit better. But for the meantime, I do want to shoot this 3-finger under tab. So I'm going to put this piece of brown oilskin on, and I'm going to use the backing that came with this, and see how much I like that. And then I can adjust this and trim it up and do whatever I want with it, and not really have to worry, because I had a piece of scrap. So, and it matches my arm guard and my quiver. It's all made out of that same. So hey, I'm gonna match fashion. Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna punch the holes and everything in this. I'm gonna put it all together, and I'm gonna fire it a little bit. I'll show you guys a little bit more as I progress through doing this. But this is what's great about, you can order something as interesting as these Elite tabs. I know that not a lot of guys shoot them in the traditional archery, perhaps anyway. It's more of an Olympic style tab, but I love it, and it certainly does. It has improved my shooting since I've started shooting this, and I guess I've had this tab, this split finger tab, forever, but I didn't really use it. I shot a glove and switched to it in January, and put a lot of time in the month of January here in the garage shooting behind me, and ended up realizing that it made my release a lot more consistent. That's the word I'm looking for. And then I ordered the 3-finger under, and I ordered the cordovan because I thought I always like to try something new. So I bought the cordovan, ended up didn't like it, knowing that I could always replace and put the leather in. So I'll continue on, and I'll give you guys a little bit of a heads up as I get closer. So again, I'm doing this because I've got all the leather tools. It's not really difficult to do, but if you don't have the right tools, you might have trouble punching the right size holes and that kind of stuff. But it's really it's not all that difficult, and you can always make do. A pair of scissors, a couple of nails to punch holes, pretty simple stuff. Okay, talk to you in a bit. Oh, hole punch, Tandy leather is where I get that. My cheap rubber mallet is what I use for banging. And 2 different size holes. I went to small holes along the outside, and then the larger holes for the cord to go through, which holds it onto your finger. So I punched those all out, and now I'm going to try and put it all back together and see if it works. So I'll put it all back together and show you guys the final result. All right, so there it is, all put back together. So you had the cordovan, and then there was this, I don't know, call it a liner. Because this was somewhere in between the cordovan that I had and this, the old tab that I was shooting, the split finger, which I like that suppleness. This is somewhere in between it, and it's got a fairly soft back anyway. So I'm choosing not to put the liner back on, or whatever it is that this is called, right away. I'm going to try shooting this just like the with the oil skin. That's what I was trying to say. So I'm going to string up my bow and see if I like this any better. And again, it'll probably still take a little bit of working in, but already I like that it's, you can see that's already starting to curve just after just putting it on, where this this cordovan just didn't want to do anything. So I'm going to see if that works any better. This cordovan was pulling my shots a little bit. I wasn't getting the same crisp release that I was getting with the leather one, the split finger. So let's see what happens, shall we? All right, so for the sake of, I'm just shooting in my garage. It's a mess, I know. So, got my new leather on there. First shot on my Wild Thing made by Lloyd Rhino. This one here pulls right around 47 at my draw. My draw is pretty short. For the sake of, I shoot a beam-in center shot, 600, almost full length with the 75 grain insert, I believe it is, and then the 125 tips. It's the full insert. I can't remember how many grains that is. I think it's 75. Might be 85. Didn't really let that one go very crisp, I don't think. I may have hesitated. Feels better. May end up taking a little bit off the index finger. All in all, I quite like that. So these Elite tabs, I guess, are expensive when you compare them to some of the other tabs that you can get out there. But again, I love this tab, and I don't know if I can show you this properly. I'm doing this above my workbench. I shoot a double knock, and then what happens with this tab is that it lines onto the, right, because it's a metal. I bang, I slide up to the second knock just like so, and it's just so consistent. I'm right there every time. I come in, I slide it up, bang. Fingers are in the same spot every single time. And everybody knows, who knows me anyway, knows I'm a gap shooter, reference shooter. I use the tip of my arrow. I count distance and then set my gap appropriately. I'm kind of in that in-between. I've put in the tip of my arrow on the spot that I pick, and kind of only referencing actually the spot that I'm trying to hit, or sometimes I'm really referencing the spot I'm trying to hit, but I'm sort of peripherally paying attention to where the tip of my arrow is from the spot. I have to admit, I was very much a gap shooter to begin with, but I'm now becoming more of a, I don't know what that, and a lot of guys out there call something, I can't remember what it is that they call it. I'm just going to call it, I am most definitely a reference shooter, and I'm aware of my gap. So with this, where my fingers are exactly on the string, the same spot every single time, I find that this just increases my consistency. And, I'm still releasing with my fingers. It's still going to make mistakes. I'm certainly not perfect, but I do find that it's just really consistent. And if it's something that you're finding your release is just a little bit off, this might be the thing to help you. And for me, my point on is right around 20 meters. What's that, 21, 22 yards? And for most of my shots in the woods, and I am going to use this hunting. That's a definite. Again, it makes me a more reliable and consistent shot, so it's going to give me a more ethical hunting situation when I know that there's less chance of me plucking or whatever the case might be, or screwing something up in the gap, because I'm addressing the string the same way every single time. So for me, I love it. Again, they don't send me these things for free or anything. I just buy them. I've never even spoken to anybody from this company, but I absolutely love them now that I'm shooting them. And again, I'm posting some of the higher scores I've ever posted, and I really truly believe that it's mostly in part this year to changing up from a glove and going with the tab. Anyway, any questions on that? Comment it up, and I'll try to answer your questions as best I can. I am no expert. I'm just a guy who loves flinging arrows, and if I can help you fling arrows more consistently, and just have more fun doing it and having more success, I'm happy to do it. All right, thanks guys.